What's up, everyone? It's Jeff, aka That Mill Guy, coming at you with my return to two things. My return to the Pioneer format and my return to the Exploring Mill series. That's right, we are not trying to go for a 5-0 because we recognize the fact that this may not be a fully tuned list or fully capable of beating what's there at the top tier, the meta. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what we would have done for a 5-0 series and instead explore something that Jeff Hoogland came up with, the GOAT himself. And what I guess we're trying to do here is recognize the fact that a lot of Pioneer right now is combo based, right? We have the Inverter Thought combo, we have the Heliod and Walking Ballista combo in a lot of the mono white decks, and of course we have the Lotus Breach combo. So guess what? As mill players ourselves, we know that we have our very own combo ourselves. That's right, the Fraying Sanity Traumatize combo. That's what we're going for. You know, I don't want to say how Jeff Hoogland came up with this or how his, user submission came up with this himself, but from what I can see from the list, again, link down below, I can tell that this is similar to something like a Dimir control list, very cognizant of what's going on with the Inverter combo, right? A lot of the same pieces, Fatal Pushes, Thoughtseizes, Thought Erasures, blah, blah, blah. But then we also kind of replace the Inverter and the Thoughtseize Oracle with, of course, Fraying Sanity and Traumatize and a little bit more, kind of control pieces here and there. I've made some slight tweaks to the list, and I'm hoping to revisit this list at some point in the future, potentially adding some life gain, just because I know that there is a bit more aggression in Pioneer, but we'll see how it goes exploring the Pioneer meta after so long. So without getting too far into it and talking about how we've succeeded and how we failed, let's get right into the leagues. Of course, if you want to see the deck list, that's down below. And please remember as we get into these games that even the impossible is possible. And as we ponder that thought, please remember to join me next time as we take a glimpse into the unthinkable. All right, everyone, this is my first game of Pioneer. Hopping back after so long, I've been watching so much gameplay, reading so many guides, but look, if I can talk the talk, then I gotta prove that I can walk the walk. We're playing Traumatized combo, round 1, game 1. We're gonna keep this hand because we're hoping to curve into a Thought Erasure. I think that's a good place to start, so we'll keep this. Let's see what we can do. Seems like blue-eye control. Well, we're here, what we said we're here to do. Yep. All right, they play a Teferi and they go to draw some cards. So I think this is going to be a turn where we're really going to look forward to hopefully resolving Ashiok. All right, so I guess we're not resolving Ashiok, and it'll just have to be search for Azcanta. Temple reveals Opt, and I think we'd rather be looking for a land at this point, so we'll put it at the bottom. Yep, uptick, uptick, uptick. Search reveals a Fraying Sanity. Man, do we want to put it into our graveyard? Yes. Now, unfortunately, that kind of reveals to our opponent what we're trying to do, so, let's see. Let's try and burn out a counterspell with this. Okay. Looks like there's some real wild stuff going on here. So, it looks like the only counterspell they have is Censor, so it looks like we're going to be taking Censor and then Murderous Riding next turn. So, our opponent burns a Supreme Verdict, because, why not? Search for Azcanta reveals a Thoughtseize, which actually could be useful after we resolve the Murderous Rider, so I think we're going to keep it. Alright, party people. Moment of truth. Let me see. Sir, back on our turn. Search for Azcanta reveals a Fetid Pools, which is pretty solid. We'll keep it. Alright, so we start off with a Thoughtseize. Let's see it. Thoughtseize draws out a Dig Through time. Sounds good. Alright, look, if I'm going to be completely honest, it's going to be the Dovin's Veto, just because we really need to start resolving some type of magic here. So if we're going to ignore the Teferi, we have to take the Dovin's Veto and hope to beat the Dragonlord Orjitai and the Torrential Gearhulk. So that's the plan. Alright, our opponents looks like they're trying to find a land. Oh, there you go, they found it. Looks like this is Orjitai. Oh, Narset instead of Orjitai, that's interesting. Narset finds an Azorius Charm, which actually doesn't really bother us, so let's just take that out of their hand for now. All right, back on our turn. Let's try and bait a counterspell. I think we're going to go the mile just by resolving something like Ashiok. So let's bait out the Search for Azcanta counterspell here. Boy, Search for Azcanta lives, and I imagine Ashiok will live as well, so let's do it. Well, Ashiok lives, and we start milling. Guess what dies to Languish? Okay, so they found a land, they found a Sinister Sabotage as well through the Narset. So, honestly, I think we're in a good spot just by being able to kill this bad boy right here. Azcanta finds us a Dig Through time, which kind of feels bad with the Search for Azcanta, but I think we're ultimately gonna have to keep this Dig Through time here. Yeah, it's too good of card selection. So we destroy Dragon Lord Ojutai, and then we mill our opponent. Nice thing about Dig Through time is it of course gets through Narset. So this looks like this is just going to be a Torrential Gearhulk for value at the end of turn, which is going to be difficult for us to deal with considering Teferi turns off all our instant speed interaction, but let's see what we can do. Ooh, okay, so we can play Azcanta and flip Azcanta. That seems pretty solid. Just being able to filter and dig through, yeah, seems pretty good. We'll keep it. All right, so we mill first, just kind of getting that out of the way. Now we resolve Search for Azcanta. Now remember, the interesting thing here is we can search for Azcanta for a Fraying Sanity and actually go pretty far with it. Remember that Ashiok does put the cards into your opponent's graveyard first, then exiles the graveyard. So it will trigger the Fraying Sanity. Honestly, though, I think this is as good a time as any to just honestly dig through time. So let's just get that out of the way. All right, perfect. The counterspell here is actually perfectly fine, just because that's another turn where they do not have the Torrential Gearhulk out. Perfect. The Field of Ruin thins our deck just a tad bit. Search for Azcanta shows us a good part of our combo, so I think we will keep it, because why not? So let's exile their graveyard first. That's really interesting. Like, I really feel like the Torrential Gearhulk is actually the correct play here. I really don't know about these 1/1s, but sure, draw through. The human kills the Planeswalker. Oh, that's really interesting. They're tapping out to play Big Teferi. That's pretty ballsy, if you ask me. Now, they untap 2 mana, but remember, that still isn't enough for the Torrential Gearhulk. We know they have 2 Supreme Verdicts and a Torrential Gearhulk, so we really just have to hope that the last 2 cards in their hands are in counter magic. So let's see what the Search for Azcanta reveals. Search for Azcanta reveals a land, which is not what we want. At least we got rid of one of the lands. See if we can draw out a counterspell here. Well, I tried. So let's see if we can really draw out a counterspell here. All right. I mean, hey, look, worst case scenario, these are less counterspells that will be able to get rid of our combo. Search for Azcanta is returned to our hand. They draw a card. They create a token. I think things get rather difficult here. We really need to find a Murderous Rider, and then what we can try and do is potentially bait a counterspell with the Search for Azcanta, but you really need to kill that Big Teferi. Okay, dig through time isn't that bad, so let's see if we can bait out a counterspell. Well, let's cover all our bases and kill everything that we can, and well, let's go for it. Yep, there's the counterspell. All right, multiple Teferi activations and a land drop later, our opponent finally swings in for 5. Creates a 1/1. All right, Search for Azcanta reveals a Fraying Sanity. Now that's interesting. Now I can't get this Fraying Sanity and Traumatize combo off because I went for the dig through time, but we can't really let this go because this is really our last hope. So we're going to keep it in hopes that we can potentially draw a land next turn and try and go for it then. Remember that I cannot resolve this Fraying Sanity because both of these Teferis can get rid of it. So we're in a bit of a tight spot. Oh wait, what am I doing? They literally just have lethal next turn. All right, next game. Sure. All right, well, going into game 2, we take out stuff that's actually pretty bad and bring in stuff that's actually pretty good. So let's do it. Well, going into game 2, we're on the play, and this hand is booty. So we mulligan. Yeah, this hand is much better. So we'll keep this and drop the Scarab God. So let's get our tapped land out of the way. Ooh, multiple pieces of disruption. Let's do it. Show me the magic. Is Lavinia even a good card against us? I mean, who knows? We're taking Teferi regardless. Yeah, I don't think we need that. We're going to put that in the graveyard. Lavinia's fine. Now this turn, I think we're definitely just going to go for a resolved Fraying Sanity, and at least then one of our combo pieces is on the battlefield, and we could potentially just insta-win on 5. So let's go for that. What's nice about the Hollowed Fountain is that's not one of the revealed cards, so at least we know almost the exact 4 cards that they have. So they play the Narset. Let's see what they get with the Narset. Oh man, Elspeth, that gets rid of our Fraying Sanity, so I think that's going to be our Thought Erasure target here. Swings in for 2. Well, this one's pretty simple. I think we're just going to play the Fabled Passage, even though we've been revealing the Swamp, and we'll just resolve both of our spells. Okay, well, they don't have actually anything active on the battlefield, so as mentioned, we take the Elspeth, and the Ops will have to, unfortunately, be spent mana to find answers later. Watery Grave is exactly not what we want. All right, we're off to a good start. Apparently, Hand Disruption is good against Control. Who knew? Ooh, they find the Mystical Dispute. I was just going to say, we could go for the insta-win next turn, but it looks like we're going to have to work for it a little bit harder. Search for Azcanta gives us Thoughtseize, and yeah, I'm using Thoughtseize here. Man, so they have a dig through time. That kind of sucks, but honestly, at the end of the day, I have to get rid of this Mystical Dispute because I have to hope that they do not find an answer, and I have to get rid of as many cheap answers that they have for our insta-win combo. Potentially, when looking back at this deck, the mana base is kind of difficult for it, but we could potentially think about going into Esper just for the sake of actually having something like Teferi. So that definitely could be something we look into. As we say that, they dig through time. Your opponent swings in for 2. Nothing too crazy. Temple of Deceit goes into the graveyard for sure. We're going to transform Azcanta to try and bait a Field of Ruin. Yikes. And we're going to leave that on top. That could be a very good target for our search for Azcanta. All right, well, we're forced to flip it. Let's do it. Yeah, no, I think we're just going to grab Mystical Dispute here and try and go with the counter war. And give me an island. Looks like they're going to try and burn their Ops here. Ooh, and then they dig. Okay, so they definitely have an answer if we decide to go off. So we need multiple answers to their answers now. All right, we'll respond to this. Thought Erasure is actually pretty solid here, so we'll put that on top. And I imagine they're going to Teferi here and start, you know, returning our Fraying Sanity to our hand. So I think we're going to start the counter war and see if we can force them to tap out as much as possible so that next turn we can actually, you know, try and go for something. I don't know. Wow, they didn't decide to pay for it. So we definitely know that they have interaction. We 110% know that they now have interaction. All right, well, Languish doesn't exactly end the game, but it does protect us here against the Lavinia. So let's see what we can do. Yeah, they have everything in the books. Everything and everything. So we're just going to get rid of the Dragonlord Ojutai and kind of hope from there. Sounds good. Honestly, at this point, we need to draw answer after answer after answer. So if we stumble at some point, I'll just concede. Okay, that's not bad. But am I going to go for it? No, because they do have hard counters available to them. Not going to lie, I really wish we had something like Teferi for moments like this. Murderous Rider is interesting at least, so let's see if we can at least try and resolve this guy. Okay, that's just game over. Okay. All right, good games. On to round 2. All right, so round 2, game 1. We lost the die roll, which kind of sucks. I would have loved to kind of win the die roll with a hand like this. I mean, it's got the combo in hand. If we're not playing against Control or any form of disruption, which is honestly a lot to ask here. I mean, hey, the win's in hand. The win's in hand. And we're exploring Mill today. We're not trying to go for a 5-0, so let's go it. We'll keep it. So our opponent mulligans to 6 and starts off with a mountain, which scares me a lot because if this is chonky red, oh man, it's not looking too great, let me tell you that. Languish is a good draw against this matchup, so that helps at least. Sunscorched Desert for the aggressive play. Ooh, no plays. Okay, this is actually turning out pretty well. Play that tapped and hey, keep our fingers crossed and knock on some wood. Oh, there it is. There's the first piece of burn. Oh, another desert. But this feels pretty good because now those double red spells aren't being cast. So this is realistically only one creature or one burn spell. There you go, one creature. All right, so it looks like we really want to be resolving the Languish on 4. So we're just going to be getting off the Fraying Sanity right now. So it looks like we're on set to win here. This is going to be rather difficult, but if we can untap on 5, we've won the game. Oh, this is so dumb. I think we've just won the game. They swing in. All right. I don't think there's a way they actually get us to 0 from here. So, yeah. I'm excited. All right. That's 1. Sure, that's 2. Oh my god, I can't believe it, we've done it! Oh, this Traumatize is actually gonna win us the game! Oh, this makes me so happy. I do not care about this Bone Crusher Giant. Oh my god, this is so momentous. I've never gotten this off, honestly, beyond EDH. I've never been able to do this, so we're not gonna edit this. We're just gonna freeform the hell out of this. Let's go! Traumatize for the win! Woo! Let's go. Read 'em and weep, opponent. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Let's do it. Now, going into the game 2 scenario here, something I remember learning from the Dive Down podcast is actually it's actually not that bad to actually keep some amount of Thoughtseizes in, because even the red decks in the format have some mid-range capabilities, so we can potentially take out some of their bigger creatures with the Thoughtseize, but we're going to take out and shave out especially the mystical disputes and bring in a bunch of hate, a bunch of creature hate. So let's see what we can do from there. Again, if I ever play this deck again, which I really do, I think we got to add some life gain specifically against decks like this. So let's see how it goes. Now, going into game 2, I'm actually going to keep this just because we have the Thoughtseize and we have a Fatal Push available to us, which we can both cast on turn 1 and 2 with the Choked Estuary out and keep the Watery Grave tapped. Our sequencing actually isn't too bad, and we have the Fraying Sanity, so all we have to do is find the win condition. Oof, I mean, I guess you always can't be lucky, right? They had a 1-drop, so that's getting Fatal Push probably. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, considering that it's only, 2 damage, let's see if we can Thoughtseize out something that potentially does more damage to us later in the game. Okay, so it looks like they can't cast much here. So I think what we're gonna do is actually take the Lightning Strike and hope to beat Torbrand and Thought Seer. Doesn't sound that bad, right? So right now, as far as we're aware, they do not have a 2-drop play. So that's pretty big for us. We essentially got rid of 3 damage and took 2, right? So we're up 1. So here we play Watery Grave tapped, and we see what they do. Ooh, potentially they don't even have another land drop. Okay, perfect. So here we're just going to Fatal Push this dude and honestly hope for the best here. That's not that bad. Oh, there it is. There's the land. So we're likely going to see a Rampaging Ferocidon here. Yep, there it is. So we play the Search for Azcanta and honestly hope that they don't draw a land for the Thought Seer that's going to kill our, Fraying Sanity out of our hand. Yikes. Okay, so this looks like mono red Eldrazi. It looks like I thought this was some type of budget list, but that makes more sense now. Okay, so this is gonna suck a little bit. Okay, so I think at this point, honestly, we're just hoping to draw like Languish or something. Like, I don't know if drawing the win condition is gonna be what we want right now. All right, find me a board wipe. Search for Azcanta. Find me a board wipe. Ooh, that's not it. So that's going in the graveyard. That really sucks. Because next turn, if they resolve a Torbrand, we've potentially died. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to Fabled Passage, cycle the Fetid Heath, and pray. So we're going to cycle the Fetid Heath here, see if we can find anything. Okay, come on, just end it. Lightning Strike me. There's so many ways to win here. Oof, come on. I'm so punished. We could have won here. We could have won here. That's insane. Oh my god, that hurts me. All right, concede. Next time, I'm just going to go for it. Oh, that was a misplay. We could have. This could have been a win. Oh my god. Okay. All right. Look, going into game 3, we're just gonna run it back. That was super unfortunate. That was a huge kind of misread on my part. Maybe I should have just gone for it. Who knows? Maybe I was just being a little too careful. Especially just because they could have had the win if they drew something like a Lightning Strike. But oh well. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so we're going to keep this, again, just because we have the Fatal Push on 1, we have Thought Erasure on 2, and we actually have the harder piece of our combo. We have the 5-drop, okay? We have the one that we have less copies of. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Okay, good. No one drop. That makes me feel really good. Okay, so it looks like they have the lands they kind of need here. So I think the thing that we're really going to have to be dealing with, honestly, is the Thought Not Seer. So I got to think about the long game here. The Lightning Strikes I can potentially beat, and the Bone Crusher Giant is a little slow. So I think we're going to get rid of the Thought Not Seer and play the long game. Fetid Heath is actually perfect. We need to make our land drops. Sounds good. That's a Fatal Push target. Okay, so at this point, I think we're going to shock the Watery Grave in for the Search for Azcanta, because now that we have one part of the combo, we're really looking for the other part of it. So let's get really aggressive with it. Let's not hold anything back like last game, and let's just go for it. Yikes. Monastery Swift Spear, and then they can buff it up with a Stomp. That's kind of scary. Sounds good. Okay, Dig Through Time isn't technically what we want here. So I think we're going to put that into the graveyard. Fatal Push actually isn't that bad. So what my sequencing is going to be here is that if I play the Murderous Rider, I can potentially draw out a Lightning Strike that kills Murderous Rider. And then I can take 2 damage and Fatal Push the Swift Spear next turn and hope to draw something like a Fraying Sanity. Now, the big reason I'm doing this is I have to be aware that they do have 6 damage in their hand. Okay, so even if I go for a Fraying Sanity Traumatize win, they could, still do 6 damage to me on their upkeep before they draw. So I need to draw out as many of these as possible. Okay, so we're taking 3 going to 7. This is really aggressive on their part, but, why not? Okay, so with what's going on currently in our hand, we can't even cast this Dig Through Time even after our Fatal Push, so this has to go in the graveyard. Okay, there it is. There's the win. There's the win. Unless they can get me to 0, I need to find a land, and then I have the win. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so that's a Swift Spear. They can play Bone Crusher Giant, still do no damage to us. So if we can find a land, we've won this game. My heart's beating, man. My heart's beating. All right, we go to 6. Okay, I have 2 opportunities to find a land. An untapped land, I should say. All right, that's going to the graveyard. Yes! Woo! Let's go. There's the win. There it is. Fraying Sanity in your face. Yeah! Wait a second. No! Is that how the numbers work out? No! Oh my god, is it round down or round up? No! It is round up! No! Pioneer! No! No! Alright, man. That last game was a little too emotional for me. I'm all pooped out. We're on the play. Let's see if we can actually win, potentially, on the play. Okay, it's got some counter magic against some of the top decks in the format. It's got some hand disruption and some filtering, and one part of the combo. Let's do it. I don't like untapped blue mana. Alright, let's see what we're working with. Interesting. Well, I think we're just going to be taking the Thought Erasure. Okay, so they're potentially just going to Omen of the Sea at end step, so we're just going to Fraying Sanity them. What's interesting, against the vast majority of the format, like, Fraying Sanity is actually amazing, the combo, but against, like, the slower mid-range grindier matchup, stuff like Sphinx's Tutelage is actually much better. So maybe there's a scenario where we actually just board into the Tutelage grind idea. All right, we got Swamps. All right, well, there's the combo. So let's try and dig for a land. Sounds good. So if we can find some lands, I think I'm going to try and go off on 6 just so we have Mystical Dispute up as well. So it doesn't hurt to resolve another one, really. Now, I wonder what my opponent's playing right now. Ooh, okay, so they are playing Inverter combo. Sounds good. Okay, so at this point, I'm pretty sure I can just go for the win. I just got to look at the deck right now. So they're playing Inverter combo. That's fine. Thought Oracle doesn't have Flash. So we can just, if we draw an untapped land, we really just win here. So that's kind of good. Okay, now this is interesting. So I think I have to go for the Traumatized win here. Oh, they didn't have it. Oh my god. Okay, good. Oh my. It was actually correct to go for it. Oh. All right, so going into this next matchup, we're going to bring in the Graveyard Hate, because what that does is it forces them to have a Jace Wielder Mysteries essentially on the battlefield to win with the Inverter out. And we're going to bring in some counter magic and go from there. Now, this hand isn't bad. It gets Thoughtseized pretty well, but we have 2 pieces of hand disruption, and because they curve out mostly on 4, that's where they start with the Jace or the Inverter, we can potentially get rid of them with either one of these, unless they have hand disruption and hand disruption. So let's see what we can do. Yep. So we draw a Leyline of the Void, which kind of sucks, but that's fine. I think we have to expect some form of hand disruption next turn, so I think we're going to put the Traumatize at the bottom and hope to shuffle it back up later. Potentially a mistake here was that maybe we should have mulliganed a little harder for the Leyline, because it is, you know, kind of lights out. It does force them to play a certain way to get around the Leyline. Thoughtseize isn't bad, so I guess what we'll do is actually opt and then, you know, Thoughtseize if we have to, because we really want to find a land. That's not land. And so we Thoughtseize. Pack Rat is kind of interesting, actually. I think what we're going to do is actually take Pack Rat and try and get into some form of a counter war with the Drown in the Lock. So we'll take the threat. Ooh, they draw another one. Okay, well, this royally sucks right now, so let's see if we can at least dig for some form of a land. At this point, we're going to take Dig Through Time as their way to kind of go through and find their combo. Thoughtseize is terrible. Okay, so they discard a Thought Erasure to create another Pack Rat. Please, 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 please. Magic, I need you to really kind of throw me a bone on this one. What's interesting is I guess our opponent purposefully missed a land drop last turn for some reason, but okay. All right. Pack Rat tokens that we now have no board wipes for. Look, I can beat this clock. I just can't find my land drops. I think we've lost, though. Okay, we're just going to concede. Okay, going into this next game, because we know they're bringing in the Pack Rats at least as an extra threat, we'll bring in one Languish. I think we still have the Fatal Pushes, and it can still get there. They did get lucky and top deck another Pack Rat there, to be fair, because we did get rid of one of them. And we'll lose one Ashiok, so let's see what we can do. All right, and this hand's pretty solid. We start off with hand disruption. We have answer to the inverter. We have answer to Jace. This is pretty good. All right, well, Thoughtseize reveals a lot here. So Thoughtseize is realistically just going to take Jace, because that's the hardest thing for us to deal with. All right, so I think what we're going to do is resolve the search for Azcanta while we still can, because we can still Thoughtseize them next turn. All they're going to have up is negate, right? Like, that's not really the worst thing in the world. So might as well start looking for our combo. Ooh, they play an island that they drew. Love it. All right, so at this point, we take the negate because, look, we have an answer to the inverter, so we're fine. Fatal Push is kind of useless in this scenario, unless they top deck a Pack Rat, which we just kind of have to hope they don't. We'll put it at the bottom. Okay, so that's one half of our combo, and let's play that out and stay reactive. So they cycled Censor and then went for a Dig Through Time. So they're, you know, finding answers to it. And I think here, actually, we're pretty fine to Disdainful Stroke this. I think this is, especially because they went all in on their graveyard for this essentially shuts off their inverter as well. So I think we're just going to go for it. Seems like a big tempo swing to me. All right, Watery Grave tapped and they don't have it. All right, Watery Grave is going to go into our graveyard because at this point, we just need to find the other half. Ashiok's not bad. All right, let's start, you know, making sure that this inverter is as bad as possible. Ooh, Thoughtseize kind of sucks. If they play Jace here, we feel pretty bad. I'm very curious as to how they actually win here by flipping their deck over, because we're going to be able to win with the Fraying Sanity. I'm not quite understanding what's going on here. Okay, well, no, we're not going to put Mystical Dispute in the graveyard, because if there's any way for them to interact or do anything, then we need to hold up counter magic. So, no, we're going to keep this. Okay, I don't know what our opponent... Okay, I guess Traumatized combo is amazing against Dimir Inverter. All right. All right, we're on the play. Going into game 4. Let's do it. Okay, I mean, this hand does stuff. It's a bit weird, but hey, hate against some of the more common decks. Let's do it. Okay, I thought we were playing against, you know, Control for a bit, but Spirits is kind of interesting here. It's sacrifice, trigger, it counters an instant or sorcery. Okay, so that might be a little problematic later. You know what, Rattle Change is kind of frustrating just because they can cast stuff at instant speed, so I think we'll have to Mystical Dispute this. All right, back on our turn. That's not bad. I think we'll play the Swamp. We'll cycle a Fetid Pools at some point and Thoughtseize them. All right, okay, Teferi, Time Raveler, and Brazen Borrower. Okay, so I think we're going to have to take, honestly, Brazen Borrower because the damage is what we're more concerned with. Teferi, we can hopefully Murderous Rider later. So we just want to get some of their spell and creature density out of there. Okay, so we know their hand perfectly because they played a Port Town, which is kind of interesting. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so they're immediately trying to return something to draw a card, which means our Fraying Sanity is actually a pretty safe resolve next turn. What's nice about Languish here is it gets around the indestructibility from the Selfless Spirit, so that should be pretty solid. Oh, I love this commit. I love this commit. My, this is going to be a super sweet Languish, let me tell you that much. So they're just trying to force us to tap out. It's the correct way to do it. Okay, so the Mutavault is nice because now we know they at least have one island in their hand. I don't know why they would animate the Mutavault because it doesn't do anything. They just tapped a mana for no reason. That's okay. Okay, we'll play Ashiok, see if we can get out a Spell Queller. Okay, no Spell Queller, which means we resolve Search for Azcanta. There you go, opponent. Now the Mutavault can attack. I love this. The Ashiok is gaining us some life because they actually feel threatened by it. Okay, so what's interesting is we know that the last card in their hand is an island because they've yet to play it. So if we draw the win con here, oh my god. All right, we have multiple opportunities to find it, so put this in the yard. Oof, didn't find it, but that's okay, that's okay. So we'll continue to mill them. The Ashiok will go into our graveyard serving as the 7th card because they'll likely kill it. Okay, I think they have to return the Fraying Sanity here if they know it's good for them. Oh, that's very interesting. I feel like they misclicked there. There's no way that was correct. All right, Azcanta gives me Murderous Rider, which, I mean, we're here trying to go for the win, so we're going to put this into the graveyard. All right, on the bottom. Come on, Magic. Man, all that for nothing. All right, fine. We'll keep the Languish, and we'll search for Azcanta at the end of turn. Man, I feel bad. Maybe we should have kept the Scarab God. That feels like it'd be so good against this matchup. Ooh, okay. Okay, got a little bit of damage coming our way. That's cool, that's cool. Cards like this will definitely be sideboarded out. Like, Nebelgast Herald, like, literally does nothing against us. All right, well, we're going for it. So, let's see if we can dig and find it. Oh my god. Ah! Ooh, there it is. Okay, so, how much mana do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to Thought Erasure first to make sure that they have no way to stop us. Yikes, that was a mistake. They had 2 Spell Quellers exactly. Oh my god. Alright, going into this game 2 scenario, I hopefully just stop punting. Honestly, I hopefully just stop punting. We're gonna take out some overcosted stuff that doesn't do much, bring in a bunch of removal, and go from there. Man, this hand is super greedy, but it could work. It could work. We'll keep it. All right, well, start them off with the Thoughtseize. Okay, so honestly, we have to take Mausoleum Wanderer because that's the most frustrating card. Okay, yeah, they're just going to flash in the Spectral Sailor. Okay, well, we got to opt for something here. That's... that could be good. All right, we'll leave it on top because it is removal. Okay, so no Rattle Chains coming in, which is kind of nice. Oh man, okay, well, at least we have a Mystical Dispute for the Rattle Chains coming up, and we can afford to take some damage from the Spectral Sailor. Okay, change of plans. What we're gonna do is Thoughtseize, then go for something. Oh my god, this hand is absolutely bonkers. So I think we have to take the Empyrean Eagle, just so we're not taking, like, boatloads of damage. Alright, you're tapping out. Okay, so it looks like a Rattle Chain's coming in at the end. Okay, in that case, what we're just gonna do is Fatal Push the Rattle Chains just so they don't have that instant speed capability. Honestly, they have plenty of action here, and we're pretty behind. We need to go land drop for any of this to be good. I guess that's a land drop. Okay. That's not good. We're gonna put that right at the bottom. This is our fault for having a greedy keep, but we had so much interaction. Okay, there's the untapped land. That one card better not be a Spell Queller. Oh, okay, good. That's fine. All you're doing is drawing a card. That's fine with me. All right, we are relatively in the clear for now, and we have another Languish as backup. All right, Teferi's interesting. Teferi's interesting. Okay, so let's dig through time first here. All right, top 7 cards, not so beautiful. So all we're gonna do is really just grab a Search for Azcanta and a Thought Erasure and kind of go from there. Okay, we Thought Erasure first. All right, we put that into the graveyard. All right, we don't have many terms to go for it, so let's see what we can find. Let's play Search. Oh, man, this is rough. Okay, so I think we have to play this tapped, and I don't think we need to really aggravate a Spell Queller, but we are losing a lot of life here, so let's just go for it. Okay, so essentially we would have lost here anyway. It doesn't really matter. Okay. All right, that's just what it is. Last turn we kind of punted, and we could have won that game 1 at least, but looks like we couldn't get there regardless of all of our removals. So on to game 5. All right, everyone, game 5. Let's hope for the best. I think a lot of games we've already won kind of one game and we lost 2 games in the middle, do some punting and just kind of not going for it. So let's see what we can do with this game 5. I think this deck definitely has some legs. We're kind of misplaying it, and we can tune a little bit to what's going on in the current Pioneer meta. Okay, so this hand is fine. We're on the play. 2 pieces of hand disruption and some card draw. Pretty good. So we're starting off with the blue because we don't need to reveal the black. We can still make our opponent think about the second color that we're playing. Green is interesting. Okay, Elvish Mystic. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Pioneer meta, so I'm not really sure what they're doing, but I think this Murderous Rider is going to be pretty good if they're relying on some ramps. So let's put this on top. Okay, now let's see if we can take out a 3-drop. Okay, it looks like some type of ramp shell. So it looks like here we're just going to take out Jadelight Ranger, and next turn we'll take out Vivian Arkbro, and the rest of the cards just essentially just become trivial. Now, Search for Azcanta seems fine for a later resolve, so we'll leave it up. Ooh, Wolf Hollow Haven. All right, so here we'll play the Watery Grave tapped, and we'll take out the Vivian. Okay, so we'll leave the land on top because I think we just want to make our land drops here, and we just have to hope they don't top deck some type of insane payoff. All right, so our opponent's creating a crazy ton of mana, and this really bothers me because I literally just said I hope they don't top deck anything, and that is what they get. Oh my gosh. God Pharaoh's statue, what the nonsense is this? I literally don't have a way to really beat this at this point because I can barely cast my Search for Azcanta. I can't cast Murderous Rider. We'll just concede. This isn't a playable game. Okay, so going into game 2 here, we're going to bring in some land hate and a bit of counter magic for their bigger payoffs. But I think we can deal with relatively, you know, like the small creatures without languishes and fatal pushes. So I think we're fine. Let's see what this does for us. Okay, so we're on the draw, and this isn't terrible. We can Thoughtseize on 2 and then hold up and opt, so I don't feel terrible here. We'll keep it. Honestly, I definitely got to remind myself to kind of review Jeff Hoogland's stream on this deck here. I definitely am not playing this optimally or mulliganing, but that comes from practice. All right, let's see if we can get a 3-drop with this Thoughtseize. All right, so we Thoughtseize them instead of fatal pushing them, and, well, this kind of sucks. They're going to be able to get off a lot here. So I think what we're going to try and do is hope to draw a board wipe with the Jadelight Ranger, but we cannot let the Karn the Great Creator resolve. So we'll take Karn, we'll try and Aether Gust Nissa later, and we'll try and board wipe the rest. But our plan seems honestly not that great, but it's the best we can come up with. There you go. They didn't have the land, but they would draw it. Considering my luck, I knew that's exactly what would happen. All right, here comes the Jadelight. Okay, so we'll opt here. Give me a land, give me a land. I mean, I guess. Okay, so Choked Estuary comes in tapped anyway, so we'll play Temple. Murderous Rider doesn't seem that bad, actually, considering Nissa could come down. But Choked Estuary also comes in tapped, and I don't know. This isn't really what we're looking for. We're trying to race them here. We're trying to find removal and board wipes. So honestly, the plan here, if anything, is to find Fraying Sanity. We have the Traumatize. We have some ways and some turns to get to it. So, you know, find a board wipe or find Traumatize. So we will Aether Gust this because we might as well get some power off the board. Sounds good. We'll take 5. Okay, lands are lands, so that's not the worst thing in the world. We'll opt now. Languish is pretty good, especially for next turn. Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. Languish is pretty solid here. What's nice about Languish here is potentially if they play Nissa, they can animate a land and we could potentially punish that animation here pretty hard. Okay, so they're going to go all in on this Nissa here. Okay, so they're swinging in for a lot, but we'll mitigate some of that damage by at least killing the forest. All right, as per the plan, let's see what we can do. Oh man, this is getting super impossible, but we'll try it. All right, well, that's game. I got nothing from there. So, I mean, tell you what, I think this deck has legs. I definitely think it requires some tuning, but I think the insta-win aspect of it is super big. And I definitely think because of how the combo decks are currently oriented in Pioneer right now, we can potentially copy those shells and orient ourselves that way and find a win through there. So I definitely think this is possible. So check out part 2 where we'll be making our own additions and changes to Jeff Hoogland's list and see what we can do with mill combo in Pioneer. But other than that, we have lost this game, and looks like we've got hit with another case of the 1-4 gang.